For 60 years, she played the kind of women who made America feel safe. The mothers who stayed. The wives who held everything together. The neighbor you trusted without even thinking about it. That was the image. That was the story everyone believed. But then, at 71, she sat down with nothing but a notebook and a pen, and wrote a sentence that shattered all of it. The house she grew up in was not safe. And the man everyone called her father was the reason. So how does someone carry that kind of truth for decades, and only speak it out loud at the end? Just 2 years later, at 73, she stood on the steps of the United States Capitol, waiting to be arrested. Not hiding. Not avoiding it. Waiting. Capitol Police moved in, zip-tied her wrists, and led her away. 48 hours earlier, she had been dressed in an elegant gown, sitting in the presidential box at the Kennedy Center, receiving one of the highest honors in American culture. Celebrities praised her. Cameras flashed. And now, here she was, in handcuffs. What changed in those 48 hours? Standing beside Jane Fonda, she wasn't there for attention. She was there to protest climate inaction. Before the arrest, she took the microphone. She spoke calmly. Said she was a mother. A grandmother. Said the time to sit comfortably and wonder what to do was over. And when someone asked what message she would carry from her most famous role, she answered with one word. Union. Why that word? And why now? To understand that moment, you have to go all the way back. Back to a little girl. Back to a house where safety didn't exist. Back to the top of a staircase, and the man who changed everything. She was born in Pasadena in 1946. Her mother was an actress trying to hold onto a fading career. Her father, a former army captain turned pharmacist, was never really dad to her. When her parents divorced, things didn't get easier. They got quieter, harder, more uncertain. But there was one place that felt steady. Her grandmother's small cottage in Altadena. That house became her escape. Her only sense of peace. But how long could that protection last? In 1952, her mother remarried. The man was Jacques "Jock" Mahoney, a towering figure, a war pilot, a Hollywood stuntman, a man audiences admired. He doubled for legends like John Wayne and Gregory Peck. On the outside, he looked like a hero. But inside the home, the story was very different. And what happened there would shape her for the rest of her life. For nearly a decade, from the time she was a child into her early teens, she lived in fear. She learned how to disappear without leaving the room. To shut down. To survive quietly. She would later say her own mother wasn't someone she could turn to for protection. So she carried it alone. But how does a child grow into a functioning adult after something like that? At 18, she stepped into Hollywood. Bright. Young. Hopeful. She landed her first big role in Gidget. It looked like the start of something exciting. But the show was cancelled quickly. Then came The Flying Nun. She didn't want it. She said no. But her stepfather stepped in and told her refusing could end her career before it even began. So she said yes. And she regretted it almost immediately. Was this really the path she wanted? She felt trapped. The role was silly. Critics mocked it. Even comedians made jokes about her. And she couldn't tell if they were laughing at the character or at her. Behind the scenes, she was struggling. Crying on set. Feeling lost. Until one moment changed everything. A co-star found her sobbing and took her somewhere unexpected. The actor's studio. There, she met Lee Strasberg. He saw something in her. Something real. When she said she wanted to become a serious actor, he told her she already was one. But she didn't believe it yet. Not fully. And then came a crushing blow. An agent told her she wasn't pretty enough. Not talented enough. That she belonged in light sitcom roles. She fired him on the spot. But was that confidence? Or desperation? Then everything changed in 1976. She took on the role of Sybil, a woman with multiple personalities. It was intense, demanding, and she knew she had to be undeniable. She gave everything to it, and she won an Emmy. But on the night of her victory, she sat alone at home, watching the ceremony in silence. Why wasn't success enough? 3 years later came Norma Rae, a factory worker who risks everything to stand up for others. That famous moment, standing on a table, holding a sign that read Union. It wasn't just acting. It was something deeper, something personal. The performance earned her an Academy Award. But more than that, it gave her something she had never truly felt before. Her own voice. But would she be able to keep it? She won a second Oscar years later for Places in the Heart. And yet, even then, people misunderstood her, misquoted her, reduced her words to something simpler, something easier. But her journey had never been easy. Behind every role was a woman still carrying silence, still carrying pain. So what finally made her speak? At 71, she picked up that pen. She wrote her memoir, In Pieces.
No ghostwriters. No filters.
Just truth. It took 7 years. 7 years to finally say what had been buried for decades. In interviews, she admitted she didn't even know if she'd have the courage to publish it. But she did. And when she did, everything changed. Why wait so long? Because the truth was complicated. She said that herself. Abuse doesn't come with just one feeling. It comes with confusion, fear, shame, and silence. Breaking that silence meant facing everything she had spent a lifetime avoiding. But once she said it, she couldn't go back. Her life after that became clearer, stronger, more open. She spoke about her children with pride, especially her youngest son, Sam. When he came out to her, she didn't hesitate, didn't question. She celebrated him, publicly, loudly. She became the safe space she never had. But was that her way of rewriting the past? Her sons grew into successful men, a screenwriter, a director, a storyteller, and through them, you can see the life she built, not the one she was given. At 76, she stood on a stage once again, accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award. This time, there was no mask, no performance, just honesty. She looked back at her first days in Hollywood, the cold beach, the uncertainty, the fear, and then she said 3 simple words. Easy is overrated. After everything she had lived through, everything she had carried, those words meant something different. Not just a line, not just a speech, but a life philosophy. And maybe the real question is this: after hearing her story, what does easy mean to you now?